If you got time, check all your little chaps that are growing. If you look closely on there, I've had an infestation of little eggs. When you get them off, they do get compact together, but I'll smash them with a half house brick or my nail because they are solid. Right, walking the hound. Steve, you got your hand up, mate? Got a question? Steve, you got your hand up? No. Right, taking the hound to walk. There's loads of comfrey about. There is quite a bit on our plot, but you can get it just to show you walking around. Still loads of nettles as well. This lot here before it's gone to seed, because this next lot has gone to seed, and if you do chop that and use that, you've got a chance of some of those seeds germinating. So I use the former. Right, carrots. This was my first sowing for this year, 30th of the 12th. Florist bucket or something nice and deep. Rosie, heel. So we're going to get the first lot out of there. Looking down on them. I'll give it a good soaking first. If I can leave it half hour, then I'll get away with that. If I want 6 out for tea, I'll just get my finger and thumb round one and pull it straight out until I've got enough out for tea. Don't forget, these are only in multi-purpose compost, so there's no markings on them whatsoever because they haven't touched the soil. There's no acids out the soil, so they're nice and clean. Because I might have just disturbed some of the carrots remaining, I'll then give it a watering. Quick swill under the tap. I say don't take much to come up because it's only compost that's on there. All you gotta do is top them. Slice them if they are a bit big. We have to eat these pies because I need these boxes to send me prize winnings out. Boston.
I did wonder, Mick.
Hey?
Cheers. I did wonder, Mick, what was to arrive. I didn't get to you. Cheers.
So we have to get these every week, but I bought a big one this week. I'm knackered. But a box of this fits ideally in one of them. So I've sent them throughout last week. Look at that. Halfway through that, I have to replenish with gravy. Rosie, behave or I'll throw you out. Next one, getting jerk chicken. We love that. This is Remy Roots. His jerk sauce, superb. I think Tesco we get them from. Tis all. But marinate that. I'll turn them over, give them a good another ferritin on the other side, and then put them in the fridge for 12 hours. Right, back in the greenhouse. These are my toms. These are what I'd add off. We'd have these off Paul, Money Maker, and Garner's Delight. This is the last potting on. Obviously, this was last week. So they're going deeper in the next pot up, which is from drinking cup size, is me red cups from the pound shop. But they come in from. That's alright. So then we're going in nice and deep, as you can see there. When I fill that up, they'll be straight up to the first seed leaves, which are those two there, as we've done there. Paul's also give me some peppers. He's a good lad. Chilies. These are in the pot now. All I'm going to do is lift them up. So I'm taking them out, put some more compost underneath the iris, so they can grow a bit more. But next week I shall cover planting these out in grow bags on this end of the greenhouse here. Plus I've got 2 of them limited grow bags from our trading sheds. That's something we cannot get now. Love for money, grow bags. We're struggling with compost, but grow bags, nobody's got any. So I'm, with my 2 grow bags I've got, I'm using them. Plus I'm making my own grow bag up, my own compost. So we see how that goes. Climbing spinach needs potting up, as he has done there, and me other spinach there. He's been going out next week and all. Right, let's go back on these two. Alstroemeria, these I had early on the year, those little tuber things. I gave them back to Jenny last week and hers complained. They told me if I'm going to send any more. Paul, you should have had yours by now and all. There's quite a few people had trouble with them. But they was crap. Now I was going to bin these. I thought, well, I'll have a nose underneath. You see the roots coming out. So I took a bit more root off, and just in case, I'm going to put them back in again. I shall give them another week, 10 days. If nothing, then I shall bin them. Right, Keith, our first speaker tonight. He's a good lad. This is, well, he was on last week, but we had interference, which is a pain in the arse. So you should all be nice and clear for him tonight. Keith, thank you, sir. All yours.
It's all right. Can you hear me?
Yes, mate.
Right. Give me 1 sec just to sort this out. Get rid of this. Right.
Andrew, I can see you. Can you hear Keith all right? Use a thumb.
Right. We all right to go?
Yeah, good man. Cheers.
Right. Okay. Take 2. Let's see if we can get through this one. Right. This is just a picture of the new structure I've built this year, shade structure, some windbreak around the outside, and I'll be putting a opaque tarpaulin over the top because that's where I'm growing some chrysanthemums this year, and they just need some shading from the sun. So that will be on in another 4 or 5 weeks, and then they'll grow on in that. Okay, mate. All right, that's me rhubarb. It really did struggle a bit last year, so I dug most of it up, split it, put loads of manure in the bed, replanted it, and it's gone absolutely berserk this year. So it does show the benefit of lifting and splitting rhubarb after a few years. So that really has gone well this year, and I've been cropping it. I'm not going to wait another year, so I've been cropping that, and it just keeps growing. Okay, mate. All right, strawberries in the polytunnel. I've got 8 of those hanging pots, and they've been fruiting now for about 4 or 5 weeks, and we've been getting regular crops of strawberries off that. And just below that are some flower sprouts ready to go out, and they were on my temporary shelves. I don't know if you remember the shelves I put up on chains. They were old frames from a shop fitting that you hang stuff on, so I put those up, and I've literally just dropped those down because my tomatoes are out now. So I've dropped those down to the side, and you can see sort of below the left-hand pot, there's a bit of a grill showing vertically in the gap, just up a bit, Mick. That's it there, that grill. That's dropped down the side of the tunnel, out of the way, and in the when I need the shelves again, I'll just pull that up, put the chains to the centre pole down to that, and we've got shelving around the polytunnel again. Okay, mate. That's just that. That was my first strawberries of the year about 5 weeks ago. So it was really quite nice, and they were absolutely delicious. I don't know what the variety is. Somebody just gave me some runners a few years ago, and I've just been using them, taking runners ever since. And they're a lovely strawberry. Blueberry in the fruit cage in pots. That's growing very well. Lots of fruit on that. So quite pleased with that this year. And my gooseberries. This is my new. I built a new cage around the fruit plot, so that's my row of gooseberries that I took from cuttings a few years ago. So I'm quite pleased with that. There's quite a bit of fruit on those as well now. Right, that's when I was at Rosemore, and this robin was following us around everywhere, and sat down, just broke a bit of cereal bar off, put it on my daughter-in-law's hand, and he was down eating away, wasn't frightened at all, but that was quite nice actually, quite nice. Stump carrots in the sand bed, thinned out. I use scissors to cut them down to ground level. I don't pull because you can, disturb the roots of the one you want to leave, and I have in the past where I've left one in there, I've pulled and managed to pull them all out. So I now go in with a little pair of scissors and just nip them off to ground level, and away they go. Come out. Long carrots. As I said last week, somebody told me you shouldn't put one in the middle. I say I've still not found out why, but that one in the middle there seems to be growing quite well. So I put 5 in a barrel, and that barrel's on about 18-inch sleeper filled with sand. So there's a good 4 foot 6 of depth. So hopefully we'll get something from them. They're growing quite nicely. Broad beans, they are now about 4 foot high and loads of early beans on them. So they're the Bunyard's exhibition one, big broad bean. There's a lot of bean on there, and as I say, they're a good 4 foot high now. So really strong, and that seed I saved myself from last year. So looking forward to getting a good crop off those. That's just looking down my plot. There's right hand side, there's some lettuce, then it goes up, there's some peas, then some broad beans. Broad beans on the left, just poking out bottom left hand corner. Then a bit of a jumble of raspberries coming up further down. They're all there, and that structure with the plastic on is where I've got some long parsnips growing, but I had that plastic all pinned and battened down, but the wind got under it and ripped it off, so I've had to repair that now. But yeah, the parsnips, and then the higher canes are runner beans on the left. So there. So that's my one of my plots that I've got. Okay, mate. That's just looking across from that plot. There's the shade structure. Then my Keeda greenhouse. That's where I've got all my tomatoes this year. They're in there. They're in the borders, and then in the green tunnel on the left, I've got some leeks growing in auto pots in there. So trying those, and they're growing quite well. So we'll see how they go. And that big green barrel there is the feeder barrel for the auto pot system. And the darker green barrel just behind it, that's it, Mick. Just behind it is a feeder that I've got to soaker hoses. One goes into the greenhouse and round the Keeda, and round the Keeda, keeping the soil moisture. It's about 4 inches down under the tomatoes. So there's one there, and it also branches off and goes under me potatoes that are growing in bags. So I've got moisture and dampness under the bags, but that works quite well. I don't put any feed in the darker green one, but obviously the one for the auto pots is feed that's mixed up already, and it takes in what it wants. And that barrel will last 10 days or more. So that's quite a good system. I quite enjoy using that. Okay, mate. Just some soft fruit, some currants. I think that's black currant, and at the back is white currant. So I've got a little patch of soft fruit that's going to need netting soon. So I better get that's another job to do. But yeah, they grow quite well. That rhubarb is, when I put my raised beds in, I just built them through the winter, and it was the first year of my plot. I'd obviously put the raised bed over a lump of rhubarb because it's made its way up right in the corner of the raised bed, and that stem there is about 2 inches across, so it's about 4 inches circumference, and that's about 2'6" long. So it's sending up some really quite big stems of rhubarb. So keeping my eye on that one. I don't know. I might try that for Malvern. See if I can have 3 sticks off that. If they're any good for the Malvern show.
Yep.
That's quite good. Now, right. Sorry, that's that's cauliflowers. Now, that picture was taken about 3-4 weeks ago, but those have been harvested now. Those collies, they growing quite well, and really pleased with those. I've never had a great success with cauliflowers, but this year, touch wood, they're doing all right. So they form some nice curds. Trouble is, they all come at once. So we've had quite a lot of cauliflower this week. Okay, mate. Shallots thinned down, and they're forming quite big bulbs now. So I'm quite pleased with that. They're okay. They're looking quite good now. Could do with a drink. Parthenon Calabres, that is. They're growing quite strong. They grow under Enviromesh. So I just remove that, just do a bit of weeding. But they are, from the moment I plant them to the moment I harvest, they are under Enviromesh all the time to keep the pigeons and butterflies and anything else off, which I really do like using Enviromesh. Right. That's just one end of one of my plots, some gladioli, then parsnips, that bed. Next bed is Swiss chard. There's a peppermint and a yellow stemmed and a bit of spinach and some beetroot in there. Then another bed of gladioli, and I've managed to get hold of some sort of rotted straw now, and I've mulched that one. I weeded it, watered it, mulched it with straw, and I've also done 2 other beds, the other side of sweet corn and another bed of gladioli that I've mulched with straw. So in this weather, I think it's got that on just in time. Okay, mate. Right, that's a Butylon sun tents I grew from seed quite a few years ago, and that is, as I say, pretty much about half as many flowers again now. It throws those lilac flowers just non-stop for about a month, 6 weeks, and at the end of the year I'll take that down by a third. And then in the spring, when it starts shooting from the bottom third, I'll then take it down a bit more, tidy it up, and it makes all that growth, top 2/3, all that growth in 1 year, and it's never failed me at all to give that flowers. Right, with the messages that are coming up about the it's autopot.co.uk, and it's a self-watering system. It's not on Greenhouse Sensation, so if you just Google Autopot, you'll see what the system is. Yes, so that, as I say, I grew that from seed, and really pleased. Makes quite a striking feature in the garden. Okay, Mac. I've got 2 half barrels in the garden that I've put some herbs in. There's some thyme and some oregano, a bit of mint, a bit of chives, a bit of rosemary, a bit of everything. It's just a feature, really. We just grow herbs in there. It makes quite a nice little feature, quite a nice smell as well. Okay, mate. That's the other one. So I quite like those. They make quite a nice little talking point when people have a little look. But that's cross. I've got a bed in my garden that I grow. That's iris, obviously, and generally all the other plants in there are self-sown plants. There's corn cockles, nigella, there's marigolds, bit of everything, wildflowers. And after the first year, it's all self-set poppies, and I just sprinkle a little bit, fill any gaps that are a bit bare with a bit more wildflower seed. But it makes quite a nice picture in when it's all out in flower. Okay, mate. Right, that's a patch at the end of my garden where because I removed all my veg beds and sort of changed the sort of layout of it, I had all these hostas and bits and pieces left over, and I had this patch of ground bottom corner, so I put everything in there not knowing what it was going to look like, but they've all come up and it's actually looking quite, I say that was about 3 or 4 weeks ago it was taken. It's looking quite nice, so hopefully that will be quite a nice feature in the garden as long as the slugs don't eat them all.
Nigel, got a question, mate.
Just a quickie, Keith.
Yes, Nigel.
What do you put down as slug control? Because them hostas look fantastic. Mine get butchered.
To be quite honest, nothing this year. I've used slug pellets in the past, but I'm trying not to. But I think because that just does get hit by the sun quite a lot and it is very, very dry, whether that has anything to do with it this year. But I haven't put any slug control down at all this year.
Have you got any frogs in the garden? Any frogs?
Sorry?
Have you got any frogs in the garden?
I've got a hedgehog.
Oh, well, yeah.
I've got a hedgehog and some other critters. So maybe the hedgehog's doing his job, earning his keep.
Thank you.
No problem, mate.
Right, has anybody else got any more questions for Keith?
To put your hand up for Keith and
For me, Keith,
Go on, Nigel.
what feed do you use in the barrels for the autopots?
I don't know what you're saying.
I'm using the easy to grow feed.
Their own version.
Yeah, easy to grow, one mix. It's
That's 250 ml in the 47 litre container.
That's it. Yeah, that's the one. That's what I use, and I find that it works really well. And I've grown tomatoes, and so I've got leeks. I've tried onions in there, and I find it looks after. It does save me a bit of time.
Okay, thanks.
No problem.
Keith,
Yeah.
can you talk us through your process and timing for your gooseberry cuttings?
Right, those cuttings came from Graham Watson from up north.
Yeah.
He sends those out after he's done his autumn winter pruning. So he sent those to me in sort of October-ish, 4 years ago. And all I do is I just tidy them up, cut them below a node and above a node, and I plunge them in a furrow in the bed on the allotment, and just heel them in, and I forget them till late, 8-9 months later, and then and I'll give them a little tug, and then out they come, and 90% rooted, and I just then pot them up individually in decent pots. I like using rose pots, and just grow them on.
How big will your cutting be?
These were about 8 or 9 inches long.
Okay, mate. I'll try.
Sort of, pencil thickness just below.
Yeah. Okay. I'm not very successful with that sort of thing. I've tried cuttings with roses, and I just can't get them to take. So,
Yeah,
but I'll try with gooseberries.
Yeah, I've done roses before, and they've worked. I mean, with the gooseberries, I do knock the thorns off the bottom third. Some people say you should, damage the stem. I don't know. I've done both, and they've all rooted. At the moment, I've got a big pot full of goji berries and loads of currants and gooseberries going. They seem to root, if you get them in and just leave them alone, they root quite well.
All right, mate. Cheers. I'll give that a
Okay,
try.
Colin, no problem, mate.
David, did you have a question for him?
It was only just to say we've got a hedgehog in the garden, and
Yeah.
I didn't know if you'd gone on the app to notify the Hedgehog Society that you've actually got one. You go on this app, it's just that they're mapping where hedgehogs are, as they're such a species. So I didn't know if you'd done that with your hedgehog, Keith.
I can do. I will do that quite happily.
It's just to keep an eye on them because they're very good for the garden, the hedgehogs.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah.
If he's doing his job, he can stay as long as he likes.
Yeah, that's right. So,
You put anything out for him?
no.
No, just
No.
leave it.
No, he's got to eat all those slugs, Colin.
Yeah.
Hopefully, yeah.
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 Thank you.
No problem.
Anybody got any more questions? Steve Chambers, you've got your hand sign up. Right, Keith, thanks for that.
It's all
Done us
right,
proud
pleasure.
again, mate.
Pleasure, mate.
Good man.
Thank you, Keith.
Pleasure.
Right, moving on. I found this in the back of the shed. Moonshine. I had this 2 years ago. And so if you want a good alternative feed, just have a look on YouTube or just put it on the comp. Just put Moonshine. And this feed's only 1 mil, obviously, so concentrate again, 1 mil per litre. But I've got in touch with him, and he's also bringing a new foliar feed out, which was the first foliar feed out of him. But he's going to send me the new write-ups when that comes out. So I might get it by next week. When he does, I shall put that up. Nick, got a question, mate?
Yeah, just on the moonshine.
Yeah.
I've used it for the last 2 to 3 years, and I also use it on the house plant. So it's a good feed for house plants as well.
Yeah. And anything new that comes out, one thing I always do is have a look at the ingredients, and they're all natural ingredients, which is a good sign straight away, isn't it? Did somebody else put their hand up then for the question while I'm on that one?
Can anybody else? Steve is apparently shouting at us, but nobody can hear him. Steve Chambers.
He did have his hand up earlier on.
Yeah, and he's saying that he can hear us and shouting at us, but we can't hear him. And I think he must have his microphone switched off at his own end.
Steve, you'll have to
Can you
unmute
unmute
yourself.
Can you unmute him, Mick?
I can't even find him.
He's not.
I'll have a look at the
showing
end. I don't want to knacker things up again.
Yeah.
I'll have a look at the end. In the meantime, Steve, if you can see it, unmute.
We can't see you either, Steve. So your camera's off as well.
I've had a quick look for it. It was on originally.
I can see him, but he's not muted.
So I've used it down the plot on the big veg as well, obviously. Also the outside grapevine, that's had its first feed. As you can see, there's a nice bit of growth on there. This is a sun trap when the sun is out. So the last couple of days, he's had a bit dark, that photo, but that's the back end of my tunnel. Just to show you the grapevines, there's one coming up there, that side. I'm just about to make him out. And the other one is just coming up here. So obviously these two have had a good feed as well. Give them a kickstart. Blueberries, all them have had a feed. Rhubarb needs jobbing, so I jobbed the lot. I had that much off them. There's originally some decent thick stems and some odd shaped ones, but then we got sorted out for later on. Right, the two grapes inside the greenhouse. These have gone haywire the last week. This was a week ago. So you can see where it grew to. This is about 3 foot from the end of the tunnel, growing that way, obviously last year. So that's the dead bit of the, as you can see there, the brown stem. So the green shoots come there. Sorry?
Nearly had you then, Steve.
He's back with us all. So I've got
Thank
two new shoots shooting off there. There's one there, and there's one also down here. So he's the longest one, so that's the one I'm going to keep. So I'm going to chop there, like I have done there. Now all I've got to do is tie him up. And hopefully within 2-3 weeks he will be at the end of the greenhouse. Which is like what I do most years. And this year, as Keith mentioned with his fruit, all my fruit, this is everything I'm looking at. It is going to be a bumpy year. Now, last year was pretty naff. And if you remember earlier on, I asked Jerry, our fruit man, if fruit has a rest every year, you get a good year if it does have a rest. And he says, yeah, there's a bit of truth in it. And this, well, it proves it because of the... I've never had bunches of grapes on. I've had on these for a couple of years, and there's quite a few bits of fruit. Right, going back to the main stem, let's see where it comes from outside the greenhouse, underneath coming up. All this new growth will come off as well, because I don't need it. So my old folks home up the top of Colligate, I chopped that lot off, and I says, right, the good stuff is for the kitchen, and the other stuff just dish it out to the staff. So them lot had that. Right, my jerk chicken. All my cooking, never use salt on anything. If I'm doing anything in the oven, I put it on a low heat all afternoon. Look at that. Boston. Frozen rice, packets of rice. Anybody dribbling? Right, this is our second committee meeting. There's Mark and Laura. This is to sort out quite a bit of stuff actually. We had to move premises. We had to sort a container out, a marquee, everything. So it was a good sesh by the time we went on. One thing we had to sort out was a marquee. We got an area to put it on, luckily for us. And we was looking at these. This marquee was 6 by 12 metre, 1,360. I mean, we got the money, we got no choice. There's we had to go down Wilson Hall where we used to have the show, and that's one of the places with a whole large room where you had the stage at the end, and it was the biggest place around by us. Obviously they've gone bum. Colin, you got your hand up, mate.
I'm just going to say, what? Sorry, what's happened to Wilson Hall?
It had the floor that got down on the big room was proper oak tiled. It's been there years, and they had a leak for the roof.
Over.
Now it's knackered it up that completely. That we had to go down and get our trestles out because I stored our trestles on some tabletops. And while I was down there, we had a nose at the damage, and it had, no exaggeration, it had lifted the floor about 2.5-3 foot. That's how much damage it had done. And the only way that I get round it, money-wise, was to sell the hall and the car park. Obviously seal that end of the building, just to keep the other side of the bar open, whatever. So we're knackered for a show. The places we did see, that was too small. So while I was in the hall, I measured up just to get our 4 lengths of trestles in. And this was one of the biggest marquees I did. And this was just under the size of the hall, if that makes sense. Meaning we can still get all our trestles in lengthways. And that doorway will do us. Anyway, I paid for one of them, and they plant a tree for you. Gordon Bennett. We also had to get a metal container. We need a new one. Tried them all, 2,400. The first 2 we had was quite a few years ago. So we had them both second hand. One had got a dent and one was fire damaged. We had them for £1,000 each. This is how much they've gone up. They're made in China, and that's how they come. Meaning, That's Trevor, who owns Crady's Down Football Club. That's Paul taking the P, or Paul pouring himself a pint. That was at the end of another committee meeting. Right, Abbey Road allotments. Where my arrow is, there's our 2 original containers. We've had them for moved. They've been moved twice. There's our new venue. There's the club itself. So there's extension I put on there. Now if we go on the patio doors there, looking at that, this green is a 5-a-side pitch. That's where they do the walking football. What about having to go with that and all? Because they have a drink when they're finished. But basically, perfect for our marquee. Nice and flat. So I rung them all up to get in our containers, and there's only one person who would help me out in the sense, when he comes and drops the new container off, i.e. there, I then want him to pick the old container up, one of the first ones, take it up here to our new premises and drop it there. If I just go close up on there. So this is the car park of the football ground. Trevor's going to let us have the container right on the end of that, meaning the doorway is there. Everything to do with our garden show will be in that container, i.e. the marquee. So we've only got to open up and drag everything to there. All the trestles, tabletops, everything that will be in that shed. Before I used to have a big transport and pay him up, but we've been told he might be finishing in a couple of years. So this has worked out well anyway. So that's what we're hopefully doing. Well, that's what we are doing. And then as soon as I'd paid for the marquee and the container, I had an email from the marquee people the day after. These are all made in Norway. And he emailed saying there was a 2-month delay. So I give him a mouthful on the email, obviously, because the date, originally date he gave us, which was next week to be delivered. Obviously, I wanted it all ready and settled for the show. And now there's a 2-month delay. And I've said if there's a chance of another delay after that, because obviously that'll go over our show date, then I want to cancel and I should go elsewhere. But he ain't got back, so I think we're all right there. The thing is, there ain't many more to go at. So that's that lot, hopefully. Because our first container there, if I'm not doing the sheds, these containers are that old, that hard to shut up, that you can't close them up on their own. So that one had been moved up there, in the new container, which everybody should be able to use. Right, schedule, that was bought out and gone through that at our last meeting as well. Because it's come a week forward, we've had to change the judges. Well, the veg judge. So that's come a week forward for somebody's job that Saturday for the wedding. We're starting up again in August, hopefully, unless it don't get extended with the COVID crap. We've got a bonsai mate. Then Reg Mole, he's a good lad. He's compared me to a couple of shows. We've got Darren Rudge, he's a radio presenter. I've given talks with him as well. I know I'm looking for speakers for next year. I've got 3 already. Right, somebody, 2 people have messaged me, one up York way. This is an allotment site. Obviously, because it's over 2 hours driving, I think it's 2.5 or something. And I asked for digs as well, B&B. So to help them out, anything like that, instead of giving them an hour and a quarter talk, I'll just tell them I'll put a talk together. This is the talk I did up Scotland, what I did for them lot up there. And if we can get away with it, I mean, I'll talk for 2 hours, which I'll cover this lot. It's just if they can get away with it on the premises, which they hire out. And that's what I tell people that way. Still the same price, but just to help them out. So that's what I do there. Oh, the worm. Right, let's get this up.
Oh no.
Can you see it going round?
Yeah.
Steve, have you trodden any muck?
No, mate.
Do you want it shuffled or not?
Shuffle
The
it.
name
What?
shuffled.
No.
Too late.
I shuffled them. Put me near that arrow.
Phew. Whoa.
Hey, mate, what's your name?
Suzanne, you
Oh
start.
wow! At last.
Alas.
Yeah. That holiday's still here, don't forget. It's only 2 days in lie. Google lie. Yeah, what I want to go. Lynn. Well done.
Get.
Ladies' night.
Thank you very much.
Trust you to work that one out,
Yes,
Colin.
thank you, Mick.
No problem.
What do you win, Mick?
They get a choice. I'll message them. They can have rock dust, liquid fish,
Oh, yeah.
and what they want.
New car.
Roger, my mate from Dimmock, I'll give them a tour. Their gardening club. He's a good old stick, and he's got a nice bit of land, as we can see, and he sent me a couple of photos to Bungon. I've got to look at these. And see his garden is nice and flat. Abbott spuds, them was grown in the greenhouse. Broad beans, aquados. His peas, alderman. His cake. I think it was his sister or sister-in-law made him. Look at that. Look at the thickness of that. Good lad. Cheers for them, Roger. Right. I saw this during the week, so I thought I'd pass it on to the troops, just in case there's any left. If anybody's after any sweet potato plants, £7. I think
Yeah,
that was with a free postage as well, so the obvious.
I've been
If
there
you're
this
after any,
afternoon.
just have a nose.
Mick. I've been there this afternoon.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It was very shit. Very crap.
Yeah.
Come away with an empty basket.
Right, need another meal. So more veg again. Obviously off my chaps that are growing. Look at that.
Oh, Mick.
Core beat it. As you can see, I like my salads.
Yeah,
Delphiniums.
right.
Boston colour, this one. I thought it was a blue Nile, but it ain't. The blue Nile is somewhere. But these are huge. I should get another couple of weeks, then I'll get a close-up of one of these.
Wow.
And they are tied up twice. That's the first one. I thought that was a blue Nile as well, but that ain't. That's at the end of the tunnel, top of the garden. But it's a decent colour as well, some are different. But I like my Delphs. Right, greenhouse way behind this year. This is usually chocker, i.e. I've usually finished the green. So in June we have the bring and buy, normal gardening clubs. So this lot was chocker, which would be like this now cleared. But these lot will be out and the toms will be out. These lot I give me mate during the week. That's to me sweet corn sprout. So I've got to clear this side to get my toms ready to go down the bottom here. Oh, look at him. So I'll get my capillary matting off, dry it out obviously, and then sweep all the rubbish off. He's cleaned off as well with a brush inside because it was all dry, nice and clean. That's my staging, which is covered in clear plastic. And he's got wedges underneath, so I get my spirit level on. So when he does go back on, it tips this way, as you can see. So if there's any overflow or runoff, it comes out that way. So that staging is taken off. So all I've got now left is my framework of my angle iron. And now I can go straight through there. All this gumph is now thrown back in the shed, so I don't need it. Another nose outside. Love these little chaps. But same as everything else, I go around and deadhead because I want these to last. The more you deadhead any plant, the more it will flower, but it's got to survive. So chop them. And I've got quite a few different colours of them coming up there. They've got to self-set themselves every year anyway. But looking well. We've got 2 roses in. I think one of the kids bought the missus this last year. But that's doing well again. I've also got a climber. I don't know what it is, and that was from last year. You might be able to see once he throws some later on. This is the, is it David Austin? The scented rose. This was on the left of our trellis. Beautiful scent, this one. And that's the chap there. So I've tied him up as well. Because if you do get any rain, which somebody said tonight, we've got 3 days of rain coming. I ain't seen the weather forecast yet. But once these, same as delphiniums, get a good bit of rain on them, the weight of them weighs them down. So I've got to tie up again. Ready for them. The scent on is superb. And all my new shoots are coming out slowly, which is what we want. So we had a nice drop of rain. We're now getting the weather. We're having loads of timber delivered as well for the wood burners on site. Right, this chap has put about 2 foot on in a week. He's doing well. The other one not so. Right, here's the fruit again. Obviously you can't see very well because it's green, but there is loads on it where there weren't much on this last year. What I should have done was took an identical photo once I took all these whips off, i.e. past the fruit. But I forgot to take a photo after. So just pretend you've just seen one. Right, back to the bottom bit. I've cleared all that rubbish off and I've cleaned that off as well. That's just a bit of ply at the bottom, covered in plastic so it don't go rotten. That's taken off and cleared off.
Mate, what sort of right hand corner?
What sort of what?
What? What sort of plums is that down in the right hand corner?
Multicoloured.
Yeah, I'm very quiet.
Can you hear me, mate?
Just.
He said, what are the plums down the right hand side? The yellow, red, purple.
Them.
Right.
That's for the bloody dogs. Swimming pool. Sorry, the grandchild.
I thought they were plums, mate.
If I had plums like that, I don't have a smile on my face.
I bet you would.
So I've took that bottom off, and I've got a bit of cover on there. Because earlier on in the season, same as last year, all my raised beds, I top dress it in muck, give it a good soaking, and then cover it. So I'll take that off it well. It does look dry, but just going down 6 inches, 5 inches, beautiful stuff. Beautiful brew. Let's go back on this one. If I've got rubbish soil or slabs, then you'd use a grow bag, something like that. But if you have got decent ground, which I have, because I've gone down about 3.5 foot, there's a good brew in there, so I'm getting the length out of my tomatoes, meaning I'm planting straight into the ground. Right, getting my canes ready. There's 4 tomatoes going in here, 2 of each. How are we going to do it? If we go back on the end of that one, because my canes are going in the middle, obviously all the way down, I want something to hold them tight at the top. There's nothing in the middle that is on the other side, so I need to put a bit of string, construct some string up there, so I've got a line. So what I've done is gone through a hole on that end, and straight that way around, and secured it on the back. Here's my line going that road, and up the other end, all I've got a hole there again, which I'll go through, and then all I do is undo a nut, put my line on there, and then tighten that nut again. So I've got my other line that way. So he's going from one end to the other, straight the way down the middle. I then put my canes upright to stop them moving once they are in. I then get a bit of string, comes around the front, and both sides are looped around the back. The reef knot is tied on the front. That keeps that cane straight, stops them going that way and that way. Reef knot, perfect. On the other end, I've put just one single knot there, spit on it, meaning when it dries it was nice and solid. But to get that in the middle, I can move that down finger and thumb. If I want to move it down there, looking from end on, which I did do, there it is, it's now right in the middle. And if you want to secure it even more, then that bit there is tied to them two struts there, meaning all these are now upright and erect. And I'm probably going in 1/2 inch at the bottom, which is all I need. So with times I've only been in here less than a week, but I put a bit of root on, a bit of mic under the Aris, normal thing for me, and that firmed in. The mixture is firmed in sideways onto the plant itself. Once that's packed in solid, then I will firm the plant in downwards. Nigel,
Can you go back a couple of slides, Mick, to where you tied the string?
on the cane.
Yeah, that's it there. Go forward one now. Go forward one. Now go forward the next slide. Where you showed the full length of the greenhouse. The next one more, I think. It shows you the full length of the greenhouse.
That one.
There.
Yeah.
You see where them angled brackets are?
Yeah.
Why don't you put an 8-foot cane across there and cable tie it to them two angle brackets? Then you could tie your vertical pals up to that then, couldn't you? No.
This is solid. I mean, I could do, but it's got to be straight as a ferret in it.
Yeah. You could say cable tie an 8-foot cane to them angle brackets, and you ain't got to faff around with the string. You could hook your cane straight up to them vertical then.
Mm.
The cane would actually go where the string's going, in effect.
Yeah.
A lot of people at tie wraps.
Hate the environment.
Right. Come back. Right, so these have been firmed in, obviously. As you can see, getting them in. Yeah, just looking at that, it isn't that dry. So it has been ticking over. It is now levelled and firmed. Next thing I'm going to do is put some straw on it, which is obviously the rabbit muck, because your muck is a bonus as well. And that's when I water once the straw has been down, so none of the soil gets disturbed growing medium. It hits the straw first, and that has a good soaking when the sun is off it. Also all of the straw. Colin, you're on second speaker for the night.
All right, just a few quickies. This won't take long. Right, mate of mine phoned me up. He runs a garden design business in Tamworth called Classic Landscapes, and he got a customer. He wanted 2 large pots filling, and asked me if I could help him out. So he bought these round, and those pots are huge. They're sort of 20-inch diameter. So I filled them up for him, and he's touched base. He said the customer is very pleased. I just hope they last a few weeks. But his classic landscape design business, I don't know if anybody's heard of it. He's located in Tamworth, but he tells me confidentially, like some of his contracts now, some people are spending over £100,000 on garden design. So absolutely incredible. I don't know where people are getting the money from. But he's done one contract of that amount this year, and he's just completing his second one of slightly more than that. Yeah, so I can't afford him, that's for sure. And there's a bit of a close up at they'll mature and look nice. I put water retaining gel in and some slow release fertilizer in. The compost I use actually for that was Levington M3, which is high nutrients, so they should get off to a good start and give a good display throughout the year for the customer.
Did you get that M3 this year, Colin?
Yes.
Has that gone up in price?
I bought some today. I bought one M2, and what did I pay for the M3? The M3 was about £6.70, I think, just under £7 a bag.
Not very bad.
Is that a hokera in there, Colin? Is that a hokera on the right-hand side?
Yes, it is. Yes.
Yeah, thought so.
Nice purple one.
Looks nice.
They're one of my favourite plants.
Yeah, mine too. It looks nice against all the greens. Yeah, looks lovely.
Yeah. And last year, what I did, I had some coleus that was fairly big, but I haven't got any that size this year. So a combination of coleus and heuchera and the other was quite nice to look at. But,
even heucheras on their own, just loads of different ones on their own look really good together, don't they?
Problem with the heuchera is you have to be careful of the vine weevil. It's terrible.
Yeah.
That's if you keep them in pot. They're not too bad outside in the garden, in pots in the greenhouse.
Steve, you got your hand up, mate? You got a question?
Colin, that £6.90 for that compost, how big were it?
75 litres.
Thanks, mate.
Okay. Too big for me these days. I can hardly bloody move them about. I prefer the 60 or 50 litre now. This was for Jeffrey. I don't know if he's on tonight, but this is the clump of viola outside the greenhouse, and this comes back year after year after year. Never do anything with it at all. It looks, it's deceptive because it looks on the photograph as though it's two different colours, but that's just the sunlight shining. It's all the one colour is the blue on the left. But that's just outside. I forgot about actually when we was talking about violas a few weeks ago. But that's been there sort of 5 or 6 years, and it keeps coming back every year. And all you do is when it's died down in the autumn, you just give it a little bit of a trim to contain it, and it bounces back again. It's good ground cover, and it makes a nice constant flower show.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's why we got a lot of crowd on tonight, Colin. I thought you was giving the talk on Viagra.
Yeah. Well, the horns are the best. My missy gives it me every night, stop me falling out of bed.
Yeah, you wish.
You're right.
Right at all. That's another view. You can see the difference. Like it looks nice there. It looks as though there's two different varieties, but you can see where the sunlight is shining on the left-hand side, and just lightening the flowers. So, yeah.
And what is it again, Col?
Violas.
Oh yeah, I've seen that. Yeah. Nice.
Amazing. They just keep going. And that's a plant that's come up in one of the borders. It's a thistle-like plant, but I'm not sure what it's called. But it looks quite spectacular, and the bees are loving it. If anybody could tell me the name, I'd be grateful, because I don't know. It's not a proper thistle.
I can tell you later on, Colin, I've got a deep red version of that.
Oh, have you? Okay. Right. And you don't know. All right. And also,
I'll look it up in my book later on.
all right. Also, Nige, is it grown from seed, or can you propagate it or divide it, please?
No, I bought mine as a plant about 4 years ago, and it's spread. But as you say, mine is permanently plastered with bees.
Yeah, it's very good. I like. Well, now you said it's in a different colour. I'd like some more because it probably would be best at the back of the border because it's got a bit of height. But I've got no idea how it got there. I don't think I planted it. It must have been from the birds or self-set.
The one I got's about 3.5 foot high.
Yeah. There's one of my irises. I'm going to divide them because that's beautiful colour. I tend to like these gaudy, what I call gaudy colours, more than the traditional blue ones. But there's oh dear, there's my helper. That's George. He's very fickle. His best friend is the one with the biscuits.
Look at his little face.
Yeah, look at his face. He's not our dog actually, he's my daughter's, but my daughter's not very well, so we've inherited him and can't see him going back. There you are, there's a room with a view. That's a picture from the bedroom. I took this actually to just demonstrate. If you look at the lawn, I've put some fertiliser on a fortnight ago. And you can see that it did rain the day after, but not enough. And you can see where the black patches are, it's scorched a little bit. So I've had the hose pipe on and it's working its way back. But it did look a bit messy.
Did you use weed and feed with moss killer?
Sorry?
Did you use weed and feed with moss killer?
No, I used it's what was called aftercut. Box of aftercut. Yeah, but it's probably it's not moss, Mick, the black, because I treated it for moss early on with some sulphate of ammonia. So I got the moss out and scraped it out. So that's definitely scorch.
Yeah, but that's what it looks like if you've used weed and feed with moss killer.
Yeah.
Just because it's killed the moss, that's all. But they do come back.
Yeah. Hopefully. But that's the view. That's the view when I open the curtains. There's another one somewhere along. That's a close up. Next one.
Is that your garden, God?
That's it. That's the view. Yes. That's the garden from nice shape, and then I've got my allotment to the right of that.
So you've got the side of your house up here, and the front.
No, my allotment is where your arrow is. We're looking at the rear bedroom now, so the house is behind the screen. And then to the right of this is me greenhouse and me compost heaps and my allotment. I don't know. Oh, I meant to ask a question. You won't see this, but in just under the, you see where the line prop is going into the border, Mick?
Yeah.
There. Well, that is a red hot poker, and to the left of it, right there, to the left under the line, there's a stalk, and I can't grow red hot pokers in the garden the same way, because something. Can you see how it's all stripped? That one, that one, yeah, it's all stripped, completely gone, and that's what happens every year. If somebody can put me right on that one, I'll.
Is that ants or earwigs, do you think?
I can't see anything, Nige. I've looked carefully. I can't see green fly, white fly, black fly. I don't know, and I've never seen birds come and peck at it either. That was another thought, that the birds were coming and pinching. But I've tried now for several years to grow them successfully in different parts of the garden as well. And it's all, I always get that for some reason.
There's so much you don't see very often now.
Yeah, well, it's that, you know, that
nice,
traditional cottage garden plants, aren't they? And
Oh,
you know, but I can't get them. Right, that's me.
That answers,
Sorry?
that answers Keith's question. With his osters, no slugs, they've all gone to your house.
I probably have, yeah. This is one of my first crops. It's a new purple sprouting tender stem broccoli, and it's beautiful. It's I can't remember the variety, bloody hell, but it crops very quickly within 8 to 10 weeks. And it's gorgeous. You pinch it out, you take the main stem out, and then it just keeps cropping. And there's a nice box that lasted us 2 or 3 days. Huge amount there. It looks
nice.
Yeah, very, very nice. And you can eat the whole lot. You know, the whole stem that there's no wastage at all. I like to steam that with a bit of butter in. Beautiful. Right, these are where's Paul? There, Paul. These are me chilies. Is Paul on tonight?
I ain't seen him.
No. These are me chilies that I'm growing. I'm growing about 6 different varieties. I can't tell you what the I got to go. Cheers. All right, cheers, Nick. I've got to pot these on. I don't know what the varieties are, but they're in. I'll show you in a minute. You can't see. But I have potted them on now, and I've moved them on into 10-litre pots, which is quite big. From these were 5, 6-litre pots, I think. I'll show you in the next. In the next shot, Mick. There you go. Nice root system, but a bit dry. But Paul advised me to keep. What's that? Tie dragon. Paul advised me to keep them on the dry side, so you know, there it is. That's quite dry. And there you go, into the pot. I did put some micro in, but I haven't taken a photograph of it. That's in the nice big pot, rammed it back up. There's another happy customer, 3 baskets from chap down the road. He'll be pleased. Well, he's collected them now. Collected and paid for. Thank you very much. That's me being money for the week. What we got next, Mick? These just general views of the garden now. This is, I think we're had a bit of wind, all my covers are coming off. You can see some leeks there and onions in raised beds. It's not a very good photograph, actually. But, yeah.
I used to use them years ago. Aluminium poles with holes in the ball.
Yeah, build a ball, yeah. They're useful.
I ain't seen them for yonks.
Oh, they're like, well, yeah, you can. They're still on the market. But you can get your sort of what is it? I think it's 10mm and 15mm.
Yeah.
Aluminium poles and just fit these builder balls in.
Yeah,
and it
good.
Makes an easy cover, like, you know, you can just lay your fleece over and peg it down, and it's quick and cheerful, cheap and cheerful. And
hey,
yes,
they're in pawn shop.
Are they?
Are they?
Yeah, 4 for £1.
Good hell.
Just
the balls.
Yeah, just the balls.
Yeah. Because I know people use bamboo canes on them.
Yeah, they've got like holes drilled in them, and you can make like in.
Oh.
I tried using them with canes, and I didn't get on very well because they were loose fit. If your cane isn't a good tight fit, so I did find the aluminium poles far better, and if you Christmas baubles, all right. If you give them a spray with WD-40, you'll find they slide on and off very easy.
Yeah.
And if you remember, a few weeks ago, I split a bamboo up into three. My mate had given me a bamboo last year, and I split it up, made 3 plants. And you can see at the bottom now, look, the new growth coming up. Some nice new growth, these little short spears.
Yeah.
So that proves that the transplant has gone quite well. Although I think they might need feeding by this yellow leaf here. But they're thriving now. I'm pleased to see the new growth. Definitely. Right there, that tree there was I can't remember what it's called now. Is it Silex? Bought it from Asda about 5-6 years ago for £3.50. It's still going. It's brilliant. I call it the what do I call it? Dear, can't remember. What's the bird with the pink feathers? Flamingo bush.
Flamingo.
Yeah, but it's doing well. It's just it just stands there, and it was one that was grafted, and I think that was just nobody had bought it. It was feeling sorry for itself in the corner, so I bought it reduced and give it a chance, and it's thriving. Very
I think
good.
you call them ornamental willows, Colin.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, Silex ornamental willow.
Yeah. But yeah, it makes a nice show, and it's trouble free, and it's. I mean, I haven't done anything. I think I'll give it a light pruning early on, just to retain it.
Nice.
But it is a lovely colour. Yeah, and it's nice to get a bit of height in the border. Oh, here's the lad. This is where I got waylaid the other Sunday when I wasn't on. I was called out as a local pub. Yeah, usual suspects. They're just neighbours and friends, and not relatives. And that at the end of the night, you can see we were forced to go on the gin.
Gordon Bennett.
Yeah.
Now, Gordon's gin.
Oh dear. But that's it. There you go.
Cheers, Colin. Good man.
Thank you.
Anybody got more questions for him?
I like that tree he's got. Ornamental willow.
Oh, this is a nice one.
Yeah. Asda have them every year. They sell them on grafts, but they're more expensive now than what I paid for that. But they are nice. Yeah.
I give you £5 for that one, Cole.
You come and dig it up and do a bit more digging. Yes, help yourself.
Colin, send him a cutting in the post.
I think I've been lucky because my mate says he's tried one, and they because I think what they do is that they graft them onto I don't know what they use for grafting, but my mate said he's had a couple that have actually reverted and lost the colour, but I think I've been fortunate with that one. Yeah.
Cheers, Colin. You're a star.
Cheers, mate. Thanks.
Nigel, have you seen his little write-up on the bottom here? Look.
Hey.
Amazon Rep of the Week. He's a good lad.
Steady on.
Right, reference my book. I'm still getting in touch with everybody, local MPs and environmental rubbish. James Morris is our local MP. So I got in touch with him I had a look when his next surgery was. And obviously because of COVID crap, he's only doing Zoom surgeries. So I managed to get an invite with him, and quarter of an hour we had, and I thought there was 3 of us on the, i.e. I was second or third to go on. It turned out there was only me on, luckily. The other 2 was one of his sidekick and secretary and everything. But it was very interesting because I've been in touch with, obviously this is Depra. Who else have been in touch with? There's loads of them anyway. I told them if I can make compost, so could the council and the government. And get us a load of waffle, then thank you for bringing your input to attention. We would like to encourage your input into our consultation when it is published this year. So I've sent that and mentioned this to the MP, which impressed him. He says, "Oh, you are looking into it." I says, "Well, I've been looking into it for about 6 or 7 years, but this is one of the first replies I've ever had back, and he's going to look into it, luckily for me." Because I mentioned, when I found out there was only me on there, I thought, right, I'm going to give him everything I've got. So after I get him my spiel, in fact, I should have got the photos I put on a couple of weeks ago, like Westland. I've seen this compost, I've used this compost years ago, and it was decent compost. Now it is crap. This is something else somebody else put on a couple of days ago. They were struggling to get compost, and they saw this wherever it was. I didn't catch where it was, but when they got home and opened the bag up, that was what was inside. That is the compost. It is rubbish. It's got stones, bits of wood in, everything. It is crap. Anyway.
Going back to that letter, Mick, I was reading part of that letter there. It said the money banning it for amateurs. Does that mean the professional trade can still use it?
Where's it
Only for
in the amateur section.
They've got another meeting in 2 months' time, but don't forget that they've stopped the Irish now digging up any more peat for wood burning. But they've said we will be next, the gardener. If they've stopped them, then they're going to stop us. We're going to be next. But they've stopped all imports from Ireland. Now, this is obviously the peat from UK, which I don't know we got any.
We got millions and millions of tons of peat up north. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
If you started digging it, you'd never run out in 1,000 years.
Yeah, it says on the bottom here, peat alternatives including green compost, coir dust, wood, fire and bark, amongst others. That means stones, shit and crap. Which is, but at least he's going to look into it for me, being a good lad. Because I've also got him to come and open our show. So if he don't do his bit, you're going to any road up. Beer nuts, I managed to get some off Amazon. Colin, I need to mention your name. That was here in a day. £2 a bag. Super.
What are these beer nuts? I've never heard of them. Roasted and salted beer nuts.
That's what they look like. They're a nut with a skin on, but them salted. The first time I had these was 1969 in HMS Terra Barracks in Singapore. We was in dry dock for about 6 months. When we used to go in the barracks on a night to have a little quiet drink, the locals used to bring these nuts round in a bit of, it's like a cone. They make a cone out of a newspaper, and it used to be filling these beer nuts. But I mean, they weren't sapped because you're buying nuts because you was hungry. They was full of salt, which made you drink more. You would get hungry again, you buy more nuts. But love them. And from the from the States, but obviously you can now get them on here. Right, Saturday we had Martin Smith come down the shed. He's been messaging me lately. He looks at my Zooms, and we had a quick word down the shed. We had quite a few down there. But I've been in touch with him since, and I says, "How did you first find out about me?" Because he's not on Facebook or anything. And he said, he did tell me what he's grown, that those flowers, but he was permanently watering, and he's now getting into veg. And he said there's only 2 people I obviously he goes on to the YouTube. He says only 2 people I follow, you and Muddy Boots.
Who's Martin Smith?
My mate and Muddy Boots, his mate.
Oh, right. Oh, he's nobody famous then.
But he's a great bloke, and he's now getting into veg, and he's raised beds. And he had a ton of spent mushroom compost from our mate Beaver. And I've told, because he still ain't filled, and I says, well, at the time, you know, if you'd have said, you could have took spent tops, rabbit muck and everything, so I've got to sort him out with them as well. But I think he's Kidderminster he comes from. But he's coming to our show and all, which will be good. If his missus will bring him, because he drives. But he's a good lad.
Who is that?
He's a good looking person from Martin Smith. Martin with a Y, so you don't know him. I saw this on Facebook earlier on. Somebody was saying, what's up with my strawberries? And I put in Brewer's Droop. And I think it was from the States. And somebody says, what is that? And they says, never mind, I've Googled it. They got a sense of humour like us, have they?
Have you noticed how sweet they are when you have them like that? How sweet they taste.
I ain't ever seen done like that. Have they?
Oh, I've had strawberries like that last year, yeah. They come out like that and they're really, really sweet.
Boston.
Goodness me, look at that.
Our Ben sent us this, 90-year-old rhododendron. She put it in, planted it, meaning hers 90. Look at the bloody size of that. Gordon Bennett. Good job we don't live in a lighthouse.
What is it, big deal here?
Rhododendron.
Rhododendron.
Look at the size of the flowers compared to her head.
Oh. Them and all. I'm nearly as big as it, ain't they? Bloody you.
She must be getting on for 100 then if she planted that, because you must have been 10.
90-year-old.
That's
that's
the dendron. The woman would be older.
Yeah,
Yeah, she wouldn't plant it at birth, would she?
correct. I'll just give it a age. Right, there's a couple of these got flowers on, so as soon as the sun goes in, mist spray, help them out.
Mm.
Now getting a bit of colour, looking up the garden, either side and the end. Come on, moving on. Alstroemeria just started opening up. Love them. One of my favourite flowers. I think I love these. Then me Delphs. That's one there, and there's another chap just started opening up there. And I've got to tie all these back up again before that rain comes. I've got 3 days of rain. Has anybody else heard that? Roger, Colin?
No, when next week?
Yeah.
On the weather report down here for Thursday, Friday and Saturday.
Is it?
Yeah, thunderstorms. They're talking about thunderstorms.
So it's the end of the week.
Yeah.
We've got storms Wednesday night onwards down here.
Oh,
Thursday, Wolverhampton, Thursday.
that's it then. End of the week.
10 days. Let's have a look.
Obviously, the hound can't get at nothing now.
Oh, yeah.
I bloody took everything out. Right, looking at my trellis, if you look right up that bottom corner there, so save me doing that. I'll just go on to my next photo. And this is one of the Alstroemeria, but it's a low one, whatever you call them. I know, bush type. But I thought I'd lost him last year. But that chap's still here, obviously, so I'll give him a nice feed as well, just to look after him. Right, tunnel back of the garden where I got my pot leeks. If you remember last year, when I took my leeks out, I then put my gladioli, my spare gladies, I planted them out. And these were the cormets of the gladies when I lifted. So I'm lifting them out, and there's babbies on them.
Oh,
Obviously, I don't know which sort they am. Right, hot weather. This was halfway during the week, so I need some more paste. Bit of flour, bit of water. As you can see before, because I got the staging on, there's nothing below the staging. So now I've planted out, I've got to coat this as well. When the hound let me stop licking it off. So that'll look after the toms that are inside of there. And it does work. Yesterday I had to top up with tap water again. So the lid is left off, and that will get put back on tomorrow morning. Once I've got all the rubbish off the top of there with that. And that water will be ready to use. I think this was yesterday as well. It was a windless day, which it was. House plants are bought out and they're given a nice feed as well. And a wipe down with a white tissue, which has got a very weak feed in it or on it. So it just comes on the... Right, this is my last net of onions in the garage. Still nice and firm, that chap we used yesterday for tea. But still check your onions, make sure they're nice and solid. That's what I grow more than anything, because I use more onions than anything. Yes, Colin?
Any chance of having one of them bottles of wine as a prize for the wheel?
Might cost you more than...
Just a thought.
Yeah, I'll second that.
Well, I can bring it up to you if you win. Come on up the road. I could send you a little sample.
Oh.
You can have a bottle, boy. If you come to the show, I'll give you a bottle.
Oh, it looks nice. That must be, well, obviously 12 months old now, or at least, yeah.
A quarter of them will go in our show this year. Let me carry a bag, quick save.
Yeah.
I'd like to get my money's worth. 10 pence a pay for that.
Have you got any of this year's wine on the go yet, or is it a bit early?
No, it's still fermenting away. In fact, you've just reminded me. I'll have a look, ready for next week.
All right.
Yeah, they're still brewing.
Yeah.
Right, shallots top of the garden. These are the exhibition, which are thinned down to 2. Pickling shallots, then we're up drying. This is going to be a nice bit of meat on him. I was umming and ahhing whether to split them just for one. It was really, I only need 2 out for them. But we'll see how we go. Shortest day, longest day. When you start off and pull them up. That was from years ago. I remember my grandfather doing that. But we'll see what they look like next week or so. This was taken yesterday because of the weather. The sun is still on them, so all I'm doing is watering the straw in between the plants. Obviously, I'm not getting the plants wet. I'm just moistening the straw. And then I do the walls of the raised bed as well, plus the floor. My fan's still whizzing around, my solar powered fan. Just look after the humidity, look after the plants. And then because I got these in, the hound will be in there nicking everything.
Yeah.
So I've done exactly the same there. I've wet the floor and I've put a little, that fits perfectly in there, wedged up against the frame and the door, and just pushes up against there. Stop her getting in. And everything, when it is dry, that's the staging. I took off the top of the left hand side where the toms are, so that's gone in the shed. As long as I get easy at the mower, which I can do, then that's perfect. Seen him before. We've seen him before, it's just updating him. Like there's some more flowers opening up there. You can see where I've tied him up, that one. The others I've got to do. Speakers for next week. We've got Scott again. He's helping us out. And there's Dennis. Dennis started off, if you remember one of the first talks we had, he did a talk from South Wales. And he put some onions on, his own onion seed, and somebody asked for some. But they never got back to him. I think he's still got him in an envelope. But he's giving us a catch up on whatever he's got growing next week. So look forward to those. And that's it, people. You can all unmute yourselves, or can I do it?
Can I ask a couple of general questions for people's opinion?
Yes.
Regarding, bearing in mind that we've got 3 or 4 days wet weather coming now, do you think it's best to harvest your shallots before the weather comes? Or what I'm thinking is if they have a good downpour now and get really wet, they'll burst into growth and start to go double. So do you think it would be best to harvest them now while they're nice and dry?
Are they a decent size?
Yeah, that's sort of 30 mil diameter.
See, with me, luckily, mine are under cover.
Yeah.
Unless it is a storm and the rain gets blown underneath, then that's the only way it's going to knacker me up. But if I was planting them outside, if they were outside and it was heavy rain forecast for 3 or 4 days, then I would get them up personally.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I think I think I might go half and half, belt and braces job, because I have had some nice shallots in the past start to regrow. You know what I mean when start to regrow after you harvest them, and they just.
Don't forget that last lot of rain we had, that was needed for everything.
Yeah.
But since that rain, we've had some bloody hot weather, which means it's dried everything up. Now, so you look at a shallot or something, and he thinks he's finishing off now. You know, you ain't waited him again. And the worst thing you can do, thinking about it, is just give him a good watering.
Good, yeah.
You know, it's like a checking growth, isn't it? When someone goes to seed it as a checking growth.
Yeah.
It's either too cold, too hot, too wet, or too dry.
Okay.
And if he's just ticking over, you start him
so bloody hard.
Up again.
I think I'll get them up tomorrow. And
if you've got enough to work with, do half and half.
Yeah.
Then or leave a couple in. Then there's your trial.
What do you think, Nige?
Are you cover them at all, Colin? Are you got to now sheet of polycarbonate?
Well, I could, but
I had that problem last year with the carrots. I left my carrots in, and we had all that rain. They took the water up that fast; they all split.
Yeah.
Hey, get some seeds from that blue thing that's nice. You know that thing you had on your piece. It's like a looping, but it's on its own. Just has one shoot.
Who are you talking to, Steve?
Me.
A looping on its own.
Yeah, it's like a tall blue thing.
Delphinium.
Yeah, get me some seeds off that, mate.
Yeah. Which one? All on them?
Yeah. For next year.
They won't come true from.
Cather's found Jack's magic.
Won't necessarily come true from seed, will they? If you want an identical one, you need to take a cutting.
See, Jeffrey sent me some seed this year. He says the only drawback from seed, you don't flower the first year. Now I've planted his out and I've got a flower head on it. Now, is that because they've had good growing conditions? I.e., I started him off when I had the seed, which sent me early. They've had good weather and they've had a good dollop of rain at the right time. Is that why he's throwing us a flower head? Don't know.
Nigel, question for you, that Nigel.
What's that, sorry?
Wake up.
The delphinium seed Jeffrey sent me. I planted him out and he's throwing a head already, a flower head. But even Jeffrey said you shouldn't, you won't get a flower first year.
Delphiniums flower first year if they're sown early enough.
I always thought that why any else did.
Well, this chap is any road.
Yeah.
I'll bung a foul John when he opens up.
All right, mate.
He also sent us some, what's the other flower he sent? You broadcast down the side of your allotment, Mick.
Fuchsias. Was
No,
it begonia? No. The seed.
Yeah, they're great. What are they called?
There's 2 lots, weren't there?
It was foxgloves, Mick.
Correct. Foxgloves and
yeah.
What was the other one? Got him there.
Remember?
Can I ask everybody? A couple of years ago, we put in a 3,000 litre water harvester for watering the plants underneath the ground. Would anyone like a sort of little talk on that?
Yeah.
Would that be interesting to anyone?
Yes.
Yeah.
What is it, Susan?
It's like a massive water butt, but whereas the normal water butts are like 200 litres, this is 3,000 litres. It's a great big massive tank, and you have to dig out. You have to dig out the ground.
Like an old oil tank, so.
Yeah.
It's square. It's a great big square thing.
Yeah,
But it's a massive tank, and we put it under the ground, but we had to dig it out first. So yeah, it took about 10 days digging it out, but I've got pictures from it. So
yeah, bung some together, Suzanne. Yeah.
All right then, we'll do.
Yeah.
It is quite interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I think so anyway.
That's leading on to what my second general question. I'm just asking: has anybody got any experience in daisy chaining water butts?
Yeah, I've done it with house pipes.
I've got 4 water butts in my conservatory.
Have you?
Yeah, with air stone running on them all the time.
With what?
An air stone.
Oh, right.
Keep the water moving.
Oh, right. Yeah.
One of them big circular ones, Andy.
Well, it's I've got a little compressor which is 35 litres an hour an air pump, 35 litres an hour, and that does just 4 water butts.
Okay, but what about your stone? Is it one of them circular ones?
Yeah, about 2 inches.
Yeah, I do my hydroponics with them.
Yeah, I've got hydroponics in the conservatory as well.
Oh, right.
That'd
be interesting, Andy. Is it?
Andy, bung a couple of photos together, mate.
Can you do a talk on it, Andy?
You wouldn't want to know about mine.
We would.
Too late, you've been outvoted.
Yeah. Looks as though you got quite a lot of stuff behind you.
Well, that photograph, I had that built for my orchids last year, and that photograph was taken in December.
Really?
Just as it was finished. So, I mean, there's 2 fish tanks in there as well. 180 litre each.
Yeah.
Yeah, I drained mine off 9. I've got 9 fish tanks.
And the beauty of that conservatory is it's got a built-in drain. In the 35 years that this company had been doing conservatories, I'm the only one that wanted a drain in. I've got a fogger in there as well, which is on a humidity stat.
I want to just say hello to Sue Bossum. Hello, Sue.
Hello.
You've been sat there listening to all our rubbish, all need.
You?
Never say a word.
You know, I was going to be a firefighter, but they found out I had a mum and dad.
Yeah.
No,
Andy, if you can put a piece together for us, either next week or the week after, that'd be great.
Okay.
Up to you, mate.
The week after, let me just get some pictures together. I've already started one.
Oh.
So
Changing the subject slightly, how's the seaweed project coming on? Has that been delivered yet?
No, it hasn't. I'm still suffering with my broken ribs. Well, it ain't gout. It won't be long. It'll be next 3 weeks.
Gout? Did you say gout?
Gout?
No, not gout, so.
You said.
Take the notes.
So I've got gout in my wrist.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
I know, it's bloody painful.
It is horrible.
Send Steve some, Suzanne.
Does anybody listen to Voice of Reason? No. It's a guy called Alex Belfield. Have a look at it. I'll send you a link, mate.
I ain't
What is
got
that?
time.
What is that on? Is that on YouTube or?
On YouTube. What's that?
Yeah, that's what I'm on. Yeah, 300 I'm on.
Better that I've got
300 I'm on.
Oxynome, which is known in America as hillbilly heroin.
Yeah, no, I'm on 300 milligrams. That one's for gout, that one.
Yeah.
I've got it in my wrist. Got it here.
I've been told you have to take these for life now.
Yeah, I know. I'm on everything for life. I've got so many illnesses, I rattle.
As long as they work.
Well, yeah.
You gotta hope.
That's another story.
How old are you, Sue?
Sorry?
How old are you?
54.
Oh.
You shouldn't have to
Yeah.
like do that.
No, I was-
Steve.
It's a cheeky bugger, anyway.
Shut
No,
up, Colin.
I was ill about 11 years ago. Nearly died and was on death's door. And now I'm on steroids for the rest of my life. But I look like I'm as healthy as anything with a tan, but that's to do with the illness that I've got. So, but yeah, keep going. Keep plodding on. Do me allotment. Keeps me happy.
You have to keep plodding on. I'm on 42
Exactly.
tablets.
I know. It's bad, isn't it?
How many tablets, Steve?
42.
42.
What a day.
I've had 2 heart attacks, you see.
Yeah.
Never even knew I had them.
Well, some people don't, do they?
Anybody picking
I'll
runner
die,
beans
but-
yet?
Picking runner beans? No, blimey, I'm way off. Wow.
Well, never had to pick off before.
Mine are about half up the canes, or in fact, I better wait for them tomorrow.
Who ran about earlier on about, I call them stinky beans. Were you, Keith?
What's that, mate?
Were you on about the 4 foot high now, your beans?
Sorry?
Stinky beans.
You know your beans, your stinky beans. Smelly
runner
feet
beans.
No, not runners, the other one.
Broad bean.
Broad beans.
So, you showed a picture, you said they're 4 foot high.
Yeah.
There's a field next to me here, and it's full of broad beans, and they're only 2 foot high. So you must be doing it right.
They're definitely growing well.
Maybe them a dwarf.
I'm over dwarf variety, mate. If they're next to you, there's no need for you to sow any, is there?
Yeah.
No, I just go and nick them.
In fact, you can supply us all we see.
Send you some of them. Do you want a couple of stone? So, what do you do with them? You've got them. What do people do with them?
What,
I've
broad
tried-
beans?
Nice with
Yeah,
a bit of bacon.
Oh.
And what?
With a bit of bacon.
See you all.
Bye.
See you, Andy.
Bye.
See you, mate.
Right.
Anybody has got any photos or something? Email them me. I'll get them better that way.
So bye.
How many
can do
photos can you
teasing.
fit in one email?
Sorry?
How many
There's
photos
it.
can you fit in one email?
There's in. If you go on a website called WeTransfer,
Oh yeah, I've seen that before. Yeah.
that's the best way to send them to me because you can get to a couple of
You
gig.
get more. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep, I'll do that.
About videos.
Same again.
Same again.
Yeah.
There you go then, mate.
We transfer on, that's what I'm looking at.
I've had
Make a
something
note.
sent to me on that before, yeah. Right, I'm going to go. Bye, everybody.
See you
Bye.
soon. Bye.
Bye.
Take care.
See you all, people. I'll see you all next week.
Same time next
Thanks for
week.
turning up.
Bye all.
I'm gonna have a drink.
Ta-ra, mate.
Ta-ra. See ya.
Bye.